Hello, my name is Sean McConville, and in this audiovisual essay we will be discussing the work of British director Ken Loach in relation to realism. Loach's films primarily focuses on the working and underclasses of British society. Having grown up in a working class family in Newton, Warwickshire, Loach himself says that, "My father was just like everyone else's father, our house was like any other house, and our family was like everyone else's family." This quote gives off the impression that Loach was part of this working class crowd that was occurring within the 1940s, which he would have been a child by then. Although Loach's success came in the 1960s after the change in British social realism, when the working class had become the main focus of the time, it was fair to say that Loach's films provided a shock value to the genre. Loach's documentary-style drama Cathy Come Home, which was released straight to TV, sparked a number of complaints to the BBC for its shocking depictions of the struggles the main character has to battle with. It was also solely responsible for many organisations, including the homeless charity Shelter. It states on the charity's official website, "The film alerted the public, the media, and the government to the scale of the housing crisis." Loach himself has always been a politically motivated director. Becoming a member of the Labour Party in the early 1960s, he is often described as an orthodox Marxist because of his extreme depictions of the working and underclass of British society. And most recently, in 2004, he stood for election to the European Parliament as a member of the Respect Party. For this extreme way of looking at Britain, many of his films have been shelved for political reasons. It can be argued that Loach was influenced by the Italian neorealism movement of the 1940s. To further explain this, let's compare his most famous film, Kes, which was released in 1969, to the Roberto Rossellini neorealist film, Germany Year Zero. Both of these films used undiscovered talent that have similar life experiences to the characters they are portraying. The stories are set amongst the working class, and both attempt to reveal to the viewer the economic difficulties of the current time period. Loach has been credited by critics for the ability to direct very naturalistic performances from his actors, which fits beautifully with the character-driven narratives. Loach always insists on shooting his scripts in order, and then presents the actors with unfinished scripts just a few days before they are scheduled to shoot. This helps the actors experience the story just as a fictional character would. Because Loach's main focus is the British class system, it does raise the questions that is Loach trying to tell us that there's still a class war being waged on in Britain today, and if so, the underclass and working class are on the front lines. This question is best explained through one of Loach's more recent films, Roots Irish, which was released in 2010. The character Frankie is killed whilst on tour in Iraq, and Fergus, who is part of his private military firm, notices odd connections that lead him on a quest to discover the truth about his friend's death. The fact that Fergus actually rejects the explanation from his superiors reflects a deep mistrust between the two classes, and what separates the two from each other is an unquenchable thirst for the truth, something that is rarely provided to people like Fergus when it comes to something as complicated as the Iraq War. John Hill makes an interesting quote about the class war in the book Ken Loach, The Politics of Film and Television. New Labour followed Thatcherism in the adoption of neoliberal economic policies that took a hands-off approach to business, leaving the labour market largely deregulated and permitting the gap between the rich and the poor to grow. The text further states that Loach saw this New Labour as irredeemable reformists. Considering that Loach himself was a member of the Labour Party in his early years, it shows him as a very brave director and not afraid to challenge his own views. In the 2009 film Looking for Eric, our protagonist Eric Bishop receives life coaching from his idol, former Manchester United star Eric Cantona, as a result of smoking cannabis. Eric Bishop is a dreamer, much like many characters in the recent works of Ken Loach. This opens the question as to why these characters are dreamers. One possible solution to this theory is that Ken Loach is telling his audience that there are no aspirations for working class people like Eric to follow. The character of Eric Cantona is a comment on what guidance is missing for the working and underclass. The technique of a fairy godmother character is a new but extenuating method on characters in social realist films to solve their own problems in a broken British society. Despite this, however, Loach always seems to make his characters lose in some form or another. This is one of the most important intentions of Ken Loach films, as it is traditional for the audience to root for the character to succeed. Take the character of Liam in Sweet 16 for example. For the duration of the film, Liam's main goal is to build a better life for his mother by the time she leaves prison. But at the end of the film, Liam has lost connections to everyone he loves, is on the run from the police after stabbing his mother's boyfriend, and he has done this all before becoming an adult. Liam is on his own, and everyone around him betrays him, including his best friend Pinball. To conclude with, Loach's take on the British social realist genre is heavily politically based. To quote from Hallam and Marshman's, Loach has consistently returned to examining the effects of social and economic policies and institutional practices on the lives of those who are most vulnerable to the enactment of social policy directives. What Ken Loach chooses to show his audience is a cruel reality of the working and underclass, and he leaves it up to the audience whether they can accept this fact or reject it. No matter what the choice, however, there is no denying that Ken Loach has certainly proven himself to be a brave director, and not afraid to reveal what many of us would turn a blind eye to. Thank you for listening.